Hi guys, welcome back to our Express Pilates class. My name is Chris Neeson. I'm an exercise physiologist and clinical Pilates instructor. These classes are designed to get you strong and improve your posture with Pilates exercise, and most importantly that you can do in the comfort of your own home in just 10 to 15 minutes. Got a really great class planned for you today, so we'll get stuck straight into it. Okay, I'm going to get you to start lying on your back with your knees bent. Feet about hip distance apart, head resting on the mat, arms at your sides. We're going to start by tucking your pelvis. So that's that flattening of the lower back. Tucking your pelvis and starting to lift your hips up off the mat into a bridge, and then lower back down by dropping the rib cage, the middle back, the lower back, and then finally rolling the pelvis forwards back into our neutral spine. Again, tucking the pelvis, and then lifting the hips up. Think about lifting one vertebrae at a time as you come up, rolling up onto the shoulders, and then slowly rolling back down, one vertebrae at a time. So segmenting through the spine. Takes a lot more control to articulate the spine up and down rather than just keeping it straight and extending through the lower back. We're working on that tuck of the pelvis, that flexion through every single level, and then that control as we come back down. So once again, rib cage first, middle back touches the mat, your lower back, and then finally your pelvis, and then we'll go again. As you push up, I want you to think about pushing through your heels. So I've just got a little bit more weight on our heels, and I want you to think about squeezing your glutes. So squeezing your bum together as we lift up. And the better we can do that, the less your lower back and your hamstrings will take that load. You should start to feel the back warming up as we go each time. You may notice as you lower down, there's a couple of segments that kind of all just clunk together as you lower. It might be 2 or 3 vertebrae that just doesn't open up, and that's just a bit of tightness in there, and then it might be wise to stretch out that tightness. At the top, pull your shoulders back as well. So again, that height through your glutes, and then also from that stability from the back of the shoulders, rounding the spine down, one vertebrae at a time. Let's do a couple more. Then we're going to add on to this movement. Rolling down one vertebrae at a time, that control and that articulation. We're trying to teach you control over your spine. A lot of people just don't have any awareness or control, and that's what Pilates can teach you. Okay, lower your hips. Back down, come to that neutral spine. Hands supporting the back of the head. We're going to go into some crunches. So we're curling up and rolling back down. Elbows out wide. As you come up into that crunch, think about drawing down with your abdominals. Just very gently drawing the belly button down. Elbows out wide. As we come up, we're drawing our chin towards our chest, so we're rounding from the neck. And then at the bottom, relaxing your head and neck. So we tuck the chin at the top. As we come down, relax the head and neck each time. Otherwise, we tend to store a lot of tension, particularly if you're just getting used to these exercises. We tend to store a lot of tension, get very tight and achy through the front of the neck, unless you allow that relaxation. So just let the head sink down, feel those muscles go soft. Just takes half a second to let the muscles switch off, and then we can go again. Good. Couple more. Good. Last one before we add on to this. Curling up, elbows out wide, chin tucked to the chest, rolling back down. We're going to alternate those last 2 moves. So we're doing that hip bridge or spine curl, and then we're going into the crunches. So start by lifting the hips up, one vertebrae at a time. Actually, the hands will stay behind the head. As we lower back down, the hips will touch, and then our shoulders lift up. So we're rolling from one end of the spine to the other. The head and shoulders come down, and the hips lift up. As our hips come down, the shoulders lift up. And I've just got that energy flowing from one end of the spine to the other. That movement flowing from one end of the spine to the other. Working on that control at every single level of the spine. All the way from the neck, right down to your hips, where the spine attaches to the pelvis. Good. It almost feels really natural once we get into this movement. That control we should have over our back, that control we should have over our spine at every level, rather than it just being treated like a stiff rod that doesn't bend or flex. We're actually using the spine like it should be. On this next one, come up into a crunch and hold. I just want you to do small pulses.
So come to the top, then pull the chest forwards an inch and then back down. Forwards an inch, belly button down, and then back away. Let's do 10 more of those. 1, elbows out wide still. 2, belly button drawing down each time as you engage. 3, 4, 5, rib cage pulling down towards your hips. That was 6, 7, keep going now as they start to tire. 8, 9, last one, that's 10, and we're rolling back down. I want you to lift up into that bridge now, and we're going to be extending a leg away and back down. Try this with your arms across your chest. Takes a lot more stability and control without the arms. As you go side to side, try to keep your hips still, try to keep your knees in line. So we're only extending out through the shin, everything else stays still, the hips stay lifted right up, arms are across the chest. Do a couple more of those. Try and avoid any side to side movement. Try to avoid any side to side drop of your pelvis also. Got 6 more. Keep those hips up. Just prop them up a little bit higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And bring your feet down and roll your spine down. We're going to continue with our legs up in tabletop. One at a time, legs at right angles up above your hips. In Pilates, this position is called tabletop. From there, we're doing leg stretches, stretching a leg away and then bring it back into tabletop. Same on the other side, stretching a leg out and back in. We're just going to keep alternating. Now, if this is too challenging, what you can do, you can start with your leg down, bring it up, out, back in and down, and then same on the other side. If you can though, just start with the legs in tabletop, go in and out from there. If you want to make it a little bit harder, bring the leg down towards the ground, lightly touch it on the mat, and then back up and into tabletop. Stretch out, lightly touch, back up and into tabletop. As those legs are going in and out, be mindful of what your lower back is doing. Try and keep your lower back pressed down onto the mat so it's not arching up, the pelvis doesn't roll forward, we don't lose our neutral spine. Got another 20 seconds here. Try to keep breathing in and out. We can just inhale for one movement, exhale for the next. Let's go for 10 more seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into the chest. Before we go on, we've got one more exercise to go through. The legs are going back to tabletop, arms reaching up towards the roof. We're going to make it a little bit harder on that last one. Opening an arm overhead as your leg stretches away. Your opposite arm stretching away overhead. Again, if we want to make it easier, start with the legs down, bring the leg up, stretch away, in and down. If you can, do it with the legs starting up in tabletop. Really challenge yourself with this exercise. Be mindful of what the lower back's doing. Also be mindful of what the rib cage is doing. As the arm stretches overhead, make sure your rib cage, the back of the rib cage, stays pressed down onto the mat. Keep breathing with this one. We're going to finish with this one. It's quite challenging, but if you can get through this set, it's just going to make those core muscles so much stronger. As one arm goes away overhead, try to keep this other arm pointing up towards the roof. Don't let it move down to the side at all. It's going to want to move down to your hip. Try and keep it still up at the top. 20 seconds to go. Still deep breathing. Make sure you're not holding your breath at all. Make sure the lower back stays down as you start to get tired through those core muscles. Last 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one, and hugging your knees in towards your chest. Just circle the knees side to side, flattening your lower back down. Well done, guys. Awesome job today. Great class. Try to complete this class a few times throughout the week, and then we'll see you next week on Monday. For more exercises or Pilates videos, head to betterexercise.com.au. Thanks a lot.